Greetings, old world explorers. I just wanted to share a couple thoughts in this short video today. A couple things that are running through my head regarding this research that I embark upon on this channel. And I guess some people ask, what are you actually trying to say? And I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I think there's sort of a vein running through this research that is indicating to us what we're looking at. Now I call it the old world. I've referred to it as Tartaria or Tartaria. A lot of people are calling it that in this field of research. And my thought was, if anyone has done research or had done research in the past on the whole idea of Atlantis, you have the Edgar Cayce prophecies, and you have that whole concept of Atlantis being an island in the ocean that will rise again sometime down the line. I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents on what we may be experiencing right now at this period of time is possibly the rising of Atlantis. And it seems to me what's happening is our perception is changing. So we were always waiting for Atlantis to rise from the sea, some sort of proof. I think the concept of Atlantis has to do with proof that we were once able to live as one here in this realm, I'll say, because we're also in a period of time where the sphere and the non-spherical, as far as where we exist in this realm, or what we exist on, has been thrown into serious question. I think we are beyond the point of it being a laughable question, and it's actually being it's in the arena as seriously up for debate these days. But getting back to the Atlantis idea, the suggestion and the hopes and dreams of anyone who researched Atlantis is that we were once able to exist as one, and the proof of the existence of Atlantis would be the clincher, the mechanism for dissolving our differences, understanding that what we have been told is impossible is actually possible and once happened, once existed. So I draw the correlation between this research, the old world research, the Atlantis mythos, Tartaria. I think we can tie them all into a similar package. And I think as we look into history itself and what we see from our written history, of course, remember, written history is written by the scholars, the monks, the royal societies, and I think these institutions have been rightly targeted as being nefarious, working against our common purpose as maybe that's not the best term, working against our interests as humanity. Nevertheless, our written history telling us that we are a divided people, we are a weak people, we are not an independent. In fact, we need some sort of authority to tell us how to be, how to exist. And what this research is doing, this old world research, is putting all that into question. And if you've noticed in this field of research, if you follow anyone that does this type of work, everyone's trying to formulate a theory, or using a theory as a backdrop to bring a picture into focus of what actually once was. But nobody can say for sure. But the fact that we're able to collaborate, and the fact that we are able to collaborate allows us to get a clearer picture of the past, and maybe there is some sort of genetic memory going on here. And I also do believe that genetic manipulation and alteration has taken place. We're getting closer to understanding that there's a parasitic entity here with us, possibly a part of us, some manifesting in a much stronger form than others, and I think there is a conscious choice in that regard, whether or not we want to turn that on or off. And that gets into ritual and all that type of stuff. People that do whatever they can to keep that power, let's say. Although I think we are in the time, and as I mentioned, the Atlantis Rising concept, we're in a time where that spell or power that we were once able to hold over us is diminishing rapidly. And then if you get into a lot of people will call it the rapture, the apocalypse, all of these different names for the time that we're going through right now. And I think it's helpful not to attach fear to the process of what we're experiencing right now. Fear is their food, as far as I'm concerned, so we don't need that. We can throw that out. Fear is what will drive you away from the truth, back into the arms of the deceivers, let's say. Also want to mention time itself, our concept of time. Our concept of time definitely has been distorted and altered, made to fit the model of society that we currently have, although I would suggest it is currently disintegrating. But I think as far as even research in history and all of the stuff that we look into, all of the things that fall under the umbrella of the old world, I think there's a massive time distortion that we are also uncovering right now, having to do with the lengthening of time. A lot of people will talk about the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ, and then the insertion of 1,000 years into our historical narrative, the Dark Ages, the multiple royalties, Louis the whatever, 14, 15, 16, Napoleon 1, 2, 3, the popes, the many popes, all of these types of things indicating, and I think it was Anatoly Fomenko did some interesting mathematical research on this, but all these things indicating that our timeline has been distorted. So when this timeline distortion takes hold of our consciousness, it moves us further away from that oneness that we're seeking to get back to, that whole Atlantean idea, pushing Atlantis back 10,000 years, moving further away from us and what we were, and if we were closer to God, or the concept of God, as we lived in one, or as one, moving us further away from God, pushing us further away from God. So this timeline distortion serving that purpose, I would suggest. And so as we remove the chains of deception and begin to understand that what we are looking at is not necessarily the slow decay of time with many of these ruins, but is actually the result of some sort of cataclysmic devastation that occurred much more recently in our past here. And what we're looking at with many of the old world buildings and structures and infrastructure, almost having come from a time of where the realm was possibly terraformed. Now that's very difficult. That's a very hazy picture for me to solidify, but moving my concepts of this in that direction these days. And I do believe that we will come closer to the the truth as we pursue this research. I don't know if we will ever know the full truth or the whole truth. I don't know if that's possible, but I think to use a phrase that Howdy McCoskey is known for, or has been, I think it was in the Stolen History documentaries. All we can really do is peel back the lies. We can't say we know what the truth is exactly, but we can definitely discard the lies, and like layers of an onion, we continue to peel those back and try to get closer to the truth. But I do think it is a special time here, the modern age, I suppose, with all that's gone on over the last several years, and the shaky foundations now that we find all of these academic and government and religious and all these authority figures we would have called in the past are all on very, very shaky ground now. And everything we once thought was stable and something we can rely on as an anchor point for knowledge and understanding has now had the rug swept out from under it. So this has just been my musings on the research and where it's headed for me anyway, and where I see it as a whole, I suppose. Atlantis Rising. What do you think? Tartaria, Old World, Atlantis? Thanks for watching.